Follow along and move with me to wake up all of the joints in the body nice and gently with no equipment needed. We'll go through some passive and active stretching and some articulations actively of the joints of the body. This is going to be a very smooth wake up process for the body. So I hope you're joining me first thing in the morning. Let's get started. You're going to start on your back with your knees pulled into your chest. We're going to be lengthening and decompressing the spine here. And we'll be here for a little while, so you can really, ease into this stretch. You can place your hands right at the top of the shins at the base of the knees and pull them in nice and tight. If you can, reach all the way around and grab onto wrists. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can also reach behind those thighs and pull them into your chest as well here. So we're using the upper body to help compress the anterior or the front of the body and lengthen the back side of the body. So once you're in your comfortable stretched position, take a few deep breaths here. We're trying to expand the lungs as we inhale and contract, squeezing the air out of the lungs and squeezing those abdominals around the spine as we exhale. We're going to take a few more deep breaths here. Feel free to rock side to side. You can keep your head on the floor and disassociate the hips from the shoulders. Or you can lift the head up and roll the entire body side to side. Feel how the hips and the legs are moving within those hip joints. Feel that rib cage kind of collapse into the floor. Feel that lower back lengthening. Take a few more deep breaths here. We can move the ankles as well in this position. We can go external circles from the ankles with those feet, moving one at a time, or we can reverse it, going back in. With each exhale, again, trying to pull those knees closer to the chest, trying to squeeze those legs closer together. That will help get those hips internally rotated, or that internal rotation of the hips all warmed up. Stay in that stretch. And we can curl the head off of the floor, pull the shoulders up towards the knees, just for a little more active stretch here. Take a few breaths. You can still rock side to side if you'd like. The hips can even come off the floor as you pull the knees closer in towards the shoulders. And then you can release that upper body back down. And then let's go again, compressing the body, pulling the knees up towards the shoulders, squeezing those knees in nice and tight. And release to the floor. You can keep that progression, pulling the shoulders off the floor, or you can squeeze those legs together, try to maintain this compression of the body and reach those hands down into the floor. You can also try to pull those hips off of the floor here, just trying to feel those abdominals wake up. And then release. Grab back onto the legs or bring that head back down. Take one more deep breath. And then as you exhale, either curl up into that ball or press those hands into the floor, trying to keep that compression of the body. Make sure you're still breathing here. 3, 2, 1, and then we can release. Let's slowly come out of that position. We'll flip over to a hands and knees and we'll go through some cat-cow. So we're just going to move globally through the spine. Wrists are right below the shoulders. Knees are right below the hips. Let's try to tuck those toes under if you can. Make sure that those middle fingers are facing straight ahead. We're going to start by tipping the tailbone up towards the ceiling first, moving through the spine, low, mid, upper back, all the way through the neck, looking up. Keep those elbows nice and straight. Take a deep breath. And let's reverse that, scooping the tailbone under first. Head is going to curl in last. And I want you to imagine you're pushing that floor away from you. Take a deep breath. And then we'll extend again from that tailbone. Tailbone moves first. Head is going to look up last. Keep those shoulders pulled away from the ears. Deep breath. And reverse it, scooping that tailbone under, pushing through that floor into flexion. Head's going to curl under last. We're going to do 2 more here. Keep that connection into the floor with those feet and fingertips. Let's look forward first. The head and neck is going to move first, moving through the upper, mid, lower back, and finishing with the tailbone. Take a deep breath here and reverse it. Pull that chin in towards the neck as we push the floor away from you and around that spine. Finishing with that tailbone. Take a deep breath. As we get a little more warmed up, this spine movement will feel a little bit easier. Looking forward, last one through extension. Keep those elbows nice and straight. Deep breath here. Really tip that tailbone up towards the ceiling. And one more time into flexion, pushing the floor away from you as you round through the spine. Deep breath here. And then let's come back center. We're going to open the knees, keep those bring the toes together. We're going to sit back to a child's pose. So now we're lengthening the spine, getting a little more into the hips. So we're shifting those hips down and back towards the heels. We've got space between the knees to slide that chest down towards the floor, and those hands are going to slide out in front of you. Take a deep breath in this position. Your forehead can reach the floor, or if you need a yoga block, you can grab something for underneath the forehead. Keep those arms nice and straight. We're pushing into those fingertips, and we're going to keep the elbows extended as we move the scapula in this position. So the lower back should be stretching and relaxed. We should feel a little stretch in the hips or release in the hips and maybe in the feet and the ankles, but we're going to move the scapula on top of this. So we're going to basically change this into an active stretch. So we're going to first shrug those shoulders up towards the ears, trying to keep that chest and forehead close to the ground. And that's going to compress the body again, just like when we were on your back. And then you're going to pull the shoulders away from the ears, which is going to lengthen the spine a little bit more. Almost like you're trying to drag your hands back towards you, but keep those elbows straight. And then let's do that again. Push the floor away from you. Try to slide the hands away and let that elevate the scapula or the shoulder blades, reaching up towards the ears, compressing that body slightly, and then slide those hands towards you, pulling the shoulder blades away from the ears. Deep breath. And let's do that one last time, pushing the floor away from you or pushing those hands away from you, allowing those shoulder blades to slide up towards the ears. Take a deep breath. Notice how that sits those hips even closer to those heels, maybe gets a little deeper stretch in the hips or the lower back, and then slide those fingertips, slide those shoulder blades away from the ears, pulling those hands towards you, feeling some compression in the body, feeling some engagement in the upper back, and then release that tension. And we're going to shift forward into a puppy dog pose. You can stay here if the puppy dog is too much for you, or you can simply slide those hands out in front, lift those hips up. You can open those feet out so they're right behind the knees, tuck the toes under, and then sink that forehead and chest down towards the floor. So here we're really extending the spine, especially that thoracic spine. You might feel a stretch in the shoulders as well. You can open those hands wide if it's a deep stretch for the shoulders, if that wider position feels better for you. You can also use a yoga block under the forehead or under the chest for some contact, or just taking a few deep breaths here. And the further you can get into the stretch, the higher up those hips can go on top of those knees. Deep breaths. Each time you inhale, you're going to expand through the back of the rib cage and lungs. Drive those fingertips down into the floor as you exhale. And let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Driving those fingertips into the floor. And then you can slowly walk those hands back to come out of it. So let's go into a couch stretch or a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So we're going to come up onto the knees, slowly making our way to standing. We're going to step the left leg forward, tuck the toes under on that right foot. We're going to scoop the tailbone under for a posterior pelvic tilt, which is going to lengthen the front of that right hip. Put your hands on your hips. If you're not really feeling the stretch here, you can slightly shift that left knee forward, which is going to lengthen that hip even more. Just make sure we're not pushing into the lower back. Right, so you want to keep that chest reaching forward just slightly. So we've got engagement here in the abdominals, like there's a rubber band pulling the bottom of your rib cage and the top of your hip together. And at the same time, you're going to try to spread that floor apart between those feet. That's going to activate that stretch. Deep breath. And then let's slowly shift back to that half kneeling position. And let's do that again. If you want even a deeper stretch, you could take the right arm, reach it up next to the ear, and then lean the torso over towards 7 o'clock, right? So if straight back is 6 o'clock, we're going to reach it slightly over towards 7. Just a small position, small reach here. Keep spreading that floor apart between those feet. And come back center. And we're going to do that just one more time. Pulling that floor apart, reaching that right arm up, and reaching towards 7 o'clock with that hand and the torso. Make sure that this doesn't overarch that lower back. Keep that rubber band feeling in the front. One more deep breath. And let's slowly come back center and switch sides. Nice and easy to start out the day. So knee right underneath that hip, right leg is in front. We want the toes tucked under on that left foot. That posterior pelvic tilt, so we're tilting that pelvis under, scooping your tailbone underneath you. We're gonna keep that rubber band feeling between the ribs and the hips in the front as we slightly shift forward if you can, if you need a deeper stretch. Pull the floor apart between those 2 feet. Take a deep breath here. And slowly come up out of it. Let's do that 2 more times. This time, if you need even a deeper stretch, reach that left arm up. Then we're going to reach up and over towards 5 o'clock with the hand and the torso. Deep breath. Keep that rubber band feeling in the front, that posterior pelvic tilt, and spreading that floor between those feet. Come back up, and then let's do that one more time, reaching up. Spreading the floor apart. Deep breaths here. With each exhale, trying to get a little further in that stretch, but also trying to increase tension in that stretch. More pelvic tilt, more rubber band, more spreading that floor apart, and come on up. Slowly make your way to standing. We're gonna work the hips and the inner thighs. We're gonna go into a standing pancake or just a forward fold with wide legs. We're going in a very wide position. Think about pressing the outside of the feet into the floor. Hands are going to be on the hips. Now we're working an anterior pelvic tilt. So now you're going to tilt that pelvis forward as we slowly stretch forward. If you can grab the ground, you can do that. If you need to grab those legs, you can do that as well. What we're just trying to fold in half here. If you can keep the knees straight, go for that. If not, you can bend. But once we're here, we'll hang out a little bit. And you can shift side to side with those hips, lifting one hip and then the other. Just kind of giving a little shake out there. Some flossing in this position. Like I said, you could bend one knee, shifting side to side. Deep breath. And then you can also reach both hands to one side and sweep over towards the other. So we're getting some rotation of the spine, some shifting of the hips, and of course some length in the inner thighs and the backs of the legs. And of course, you can just stay in the center if that feels good for you. Let's come on up out of that position and let's do 2 more, just going down into it and then pulling yourself back out. So we're gonna reach those hips back. We're gonna go as far as you can, folding in half. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Let's try to squeeze that floor together to come back up. And let's do that one more time, tipping the tailbone out. Of course, you can still hold on to the legs or grab the floor. Take a deep breath. And slowly squeeze your way out of it. All right, we can heel toe those feet back in towards each other. And then we can come down to the floor into either a shin box or a 90-90 position, right? You wanna be able to make sure that you can get your legs here without holding on to them and grabbing them and moving them with your hands. You wanna scooch those feet out into that 90-90 or that shin box position, and you can use your hands on the floor however you need to get there. So in our 90-90, we want 90-degree angle at the hips, 90-degree angle at the knees, and those feet nice and flexed. The shin box is just gonna be a little more closed off position than that. But we're simply just gonna stretch forward over that front leg, and then drive that front leg down into the floor to come back up into that upright position. As you're pitching forward, try to tip that tailbone out once again for that anterior pelvic tilt, keeping that spine nice and long, and then we're gonna drive the foot down to come back out of it. We're gonna do 3 more, pitching forward over that front leg. Take a deep inhale and exhale, driving down to come back out. We're just actively pulling into this stretch and actively pushing down to come out of it. And let's go one more time, pulling in. And we can hang out here for a little longer this last rep. Let's take one more deep breath. See if you can exhale and stretch a little further forward, and then drive down to come back up. Now let's work into this trail leg. So we can sit that hip down towards the floor and rotate your body towards that leg, right? We're stretching into that internal rotation of the hip. And then I want you to drive that foot down into the floor to come out of that stretch, okay? So we're trying to sit your weight onto that back hip, turn your body towards that back leg, and then push that foot and shin down into the floor to come back out of it. And let's go again. If you need a deeper stretch, you can grab onto that back leg to pull that torso even further towards it and push down to come back out. Last 2. Pulling into that stretch, pulling that hip down and back. Exhale, push down and up out of it. One more time, pulling into that stretch. We can hold this a little bit longer. One more exhale, try to sit that hip down a little further. And push down to come back up. And we can switch sides. Right? You can switch sides however you'd like. I'll show you from this angle, and I'll be more in a shin box position on this side so you can see this regression. But we're going to start by shifting forward over the front leg. Shifting forward, keep that spine nice and elongated. Then we're going to push that right foot and shin down to come back up. Pitching forward, trying to tip that tailbone out, that anterior pelvic tilt, lengthening that spine. And then we're going to drive that leg into the floor to come back up. Deep breath, inhale as we stretch forward. And exhale, push down to come up. Last 2, pitching forward into that stretch. Just getting these hips rotating and ready to move for the day. Push down to come back up. And we'll do one more, holding this one a little bit longer. Take a few breaths here, pulling into that stretch. Take a deep breath and exhale, drive down out of it. Let's pull into that left hip or that trail leg, and we're going to drive that hip down into the floor, trying to rotate the torso towards that left leg. If you are really good in this shin box position, then you can open that trail leg up into that 90-degree angle. Then we're going to push down to come out of it. And then let's go again, pulling that hip down and back away from the knee. We're trying to lengthen this thigh. And then exhale, pushing down to come out of it. Let's do that 3 more times. Pull that hip back into that stretch and hold, deep breath. And exhale, pushing out of that position. Let's go 2 more. Pull into that stretch. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, drive down with that left foot and shin. One more time. We can hold this stretch a little bit longer. Deep breath here. One more. And exhale to push down and out. All right, let's slowly come out of it. Now this last one you can do standing up. I'm going to do the progressed version, which is sitting down. We're going to move both shoulders at the same time through a nice and light tension shoulder car. So I'll show you from this angle first. So from a seated position, you could sit on a chair, you could stand up. Thumbs are going to point out, and we're going to cross those arms right in front of you. Right arm's going to go on top this time. You want to keep the shoulders away from the ears and those elbows extended throughout this movement. This is our last movement, so this one's going to use the most amount of tension. You're going to reach up by the ears. Once we get to the ears, you're going to start to turn those thumbs in And keep that rotation going as you start to reach behind you, keeping those arms high off the ground. And once you can't squeeze them any closer together or rotate them any further, you're gonna bring them down by your sides. Take a deep breath, and then we'll reverse that. So you're gonna reach up as high as you can with those thumbs pointed in and up. Then when you can't go any higher, you're gonna open those arms just as much as you need to allow the thumbs to come down, forward and up, squeezing those biceps next to the ears, thumbs rotate back out, and left arm comes down on top of the right. So we're doing bilateral shoulder cars. Keep that spine nice and extended. If it was hard to sit up tall in that position on the ground, then you can stand up for this next one. We're gonna cross left arm on top this time, sitting up nice and tall, thumbs are pointing out. They're gonna open next to the ears. Then we start to rotate, turn those thumbs in and forward, reaching behind you as far as you can, keeping those arms high off the ground. Keep rotating those thumbs down, in, and up. Bring those arms down. Reverse it, reaching back with those thumbs up. Once you can't go any further, allow those thumbs to rotate down and forward. We're gonna open those arms just as much as you need to allow that rotation to happen and for those biceps to squeeze right back next to those ears. Then you're gonna cross the right arm on top to bring back down. We're gonna do one more like that. Right arm's gonna cross up and over first. Right arm's on top, bringing both arms up by the ears with the thumbs pointed out. Turn those thumbs in. Squeeze those arms behind you as far as they'll go. Keep those thumbs rotating down, up, and bring those arms down. Take a deep breath. Make sure those arms stay straight. Last one, reaching back. Keep breathing. Once we can't go any further, rotate those thumbs down and out, squeezing those arms next to the ears as fast, as soon as possible. Cross the left arm on top of the right as we slowly bring those arms down. And rest. All right, nice job. I hope you feel really awake and your joints are ready to move and you're ready to tackle your day ahead of you. If you have any questions about these movements, drop them in the comments below. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.